What is going on, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. This is part 2 of Iyanla Fix My Life. I do not know the name of this episode. And frankly, I am kind of tired of this. I'm sorry. I'm kind of tired of the Mitchell brothers, but we'll muster up some energy to give this review. Alright, so we got Kizzy. Now, Kizzy's sitting with Iyanla, and Iyanla wants to get a better sense of why Kizzy has this animosity towards her mom. We know why, but there's some more stuff that we don't know. And we find out that Kizzy, she just can't get over it. And that's acceptable. I mean, we know she can't get over it. That's something that you can never get over as a child, that your parent was in there. But it seems like Kizzy is creating a pattern because Kizzy does not have her kids either. And her kids are with their grandparents, whereas she was handed off to her grandmother. So she's creating the same pattern as her mom did. And Iyanla made a good point that Kizzy and her mom are so much alike that that's why they clash so much. And I think the reason why her mom doesn't really like her, is not like her, but has issues with her, is because she sees herself in Kizzy, and she sees something that she does not like, and she's afraid that the kids will look at her the same way she looks at her mom. Well, that would happen if you don't have your children. Like, you don't have your children, and you're chastising your mother because she wasn't there for you, and you're doing the exact same thing to your kids. So it's the pathology, the cycle, it just continues with this family. Okay, so Iyanla sits down with LaRonda, and Iyanla just came out and asked her, does she like Kizzy? And she said that she likes Kizzy as a person, but her behavior, she does not like it. So Iyanla asked her, did your mom like you? And LaRonda broke down. She broke down. She said that her mother and her father were not together, and her mom wanted to be with the father, but the father didn't want to be with her. And because LaRonda looked exactly like her father, her mom took that out on her. She said her mom would tie her up and beat her with extension cords. And that's the thing when it comes to certain parents, because I know a lot of people that had kids to keep a man, and it seemed like that's what LaRonda's mom did. She felt like the man was going to stay or stick around or create this family with her if she got pregnant, and she saw that did not happen. And now every time she saw this little girl, she's seeing this man that didn't want her and taking out her hurt and her frustration on her daughter. So that's exactly what she did. So LaRonda did not grow up in the most stable household. She said her mom was not affectionate. Her mom didn't say I love you. Her mom basically hated her. Like, she looked at her as she was nothing. And that could possibly be one of the reasons why she ended up on drugs, because a lot of times when people are in this environment where they're not being loved, cared for, whatever the case may be, they kind of get a sense of I don't care attitude, and they start doing destructive things to themselves, because basically they feel like no one cares about me. Shit, I don't care about myself. Why the fuck not? And they end up spiraling down a rabbit hole of drugs and addiction or whatever the case. So I think that's what's going on with LaRonda, and I keep saying this, and I'm going to say this again. I think this family, do not call Iyanla one more time. Do not come on this show one more time. You guys need therapy. Therapy, okay? This show is not, it's giving you tools, but you're not implementing these tools. You need a steady therapist to sit and talk to you guys as a family and individually. Alright, so Iyanla sits with the kids and LaRonda, and she wants them to kind of get a sense of what happened to LaRonda's life, the devastation that caused her to be the ancient mother that she became. And they did an exercise, and basically a lot of their pain, a lot of their hurt, a lot of their anguish came from their mother. Even though when people are, okay, let me explain this. When people are on drugs, I don't think they realize how their drug habit affects the people around them. And I think that once they're on this drug, they're so focused, it allows them to be so focused on that particular drug, that particular thing, their addiction, and kind of excommunicate and kind of push everybody else aside. They don't have to think about their kids, their parents. their spouse, whatever the case, they're focused on that one thing. And I think that's why a lot of people go to drugs, because it allows them to escape the reality of their current situation, and they kind of drift off and, focus on this supplement that is supplying them life, but it's not really supplying, it's draining the life out of them. So they did the exercise, and LaRonda is she knows that she has issues, and they need to heal from now on. They can't go back in the past and she'll be there. It doesn't work like that. They're holding on to the fact that she wasn't there. Okay, she wasn't there. We get it. She wasn't there. And this is when you have to heal from that and move past it. And if you want to start and develop a relationship with her now, you have the opportunity still. She's here. Okay? Like me, I didn't have the opportunity to develop a relationship with my father. My father was on drugs, and I've told you guys about that before. But my father passed away, and I never had the opportunity to talk to him, to even get to know him, because, time wasted so much. And I always felt like, well, I'm the child, he's supposed to reach out to me, but at the same time, here I am adult. I was 25 years old, and here I am an adult. I could have put forth the effort to reach out to him, but I didn't. And then he passed on, and I didn't have that opportunity. So during this time, Marvin he wrote something down in his notebook, and he wanted to basically give a word and discuss it. And once he's saying it, Melvin is looking, rolling his eyes and all that stuff. Now, Melvin gets on my nerves, because Melvin, his expressions are on his face, and mine are too. I get, my face tells it all. But every time Marvin speaks, he has an issue, and he rolls his eyes, and he just dismisses everything Marvin says. And what Marvin said was something in regards to self-reflection and, expecting too much from the people around you. And Melvin took that as like a dig. He internalized it and felt like his brother was talking to him. When he wasn't talking to him, he was generally talking. But because of their issues with one another, he internalized it and had an attitude with his brother, because he felt like his brother was talking about him. Marvin, is it Marvin or Melvin? Yeah, Melvin, in my opinion, he has a lot of issues with Marvin, and it seems like no matter what Marvin does, Melvin is triggered, and he starts just being combative with him. So we're going to talk about them a little later on. Alright, so Iyanla sits down with Michael and LaRonda. Iyanla basically wanted to talk to Michael to find out what's really the issue with him. We know that he has deficiencies, but we really didn't know what these deficiencies were. He said that no one has ever talked to him about anything. He's just been there by himself, dealing with things by himself. Nobody seems to care. He feels worthless. He feels like he doesn't belong here anymore. And I feel sorry mostly for Michael, because Michael is the one who has deficiencies, but it seems like his family just don't want to deal with him because of the deficiencies, and they're not realizing that this is something that a lot of things that he's doing he can't really help, but they're focused on what's going on with them, but not really realizing that this one brother, who is the oldest brother, he is dealing with a lot of stuff, and he has all these siblings, and no one gives a fuck. Okay, this is how Michael feels. So Michael was talking, he said that, once he got kicked out of his father's house, he was homeless. And Iyanla was shocked that he was homeless, because he's in the same city as his mom and his brothers and stuff. And she said that, when she found out, she tried to go get him, but Michael didn't want to go with her. He said when he was younger, nobody talked to him about anything, and he had a lot of anger issues, and it would just come out in a certain way. And they put him on Prozac and all that stuff, because he was depressed, he was suicidal, and stuff like that. So they put him on Prozac. So he's been dealing with this for years, and nobody really actually sat down with him and told him what was going on within him. So Iyanla they do medical evaluations, and Iyanla said he does have a mood disorder where he can't regulate his moods, and when something happens, he kind of blows up and shit like that. So Michael said while doing the videos, he still does the videos, and he said while doing the videos, even though people laugh at him and look down on him about it, it makes him happy because it gives him the attention that he's lacking from his family. Nobody pays attention to Michael. Nobody looks after Michael. Nobody does anything. And even though people are on the internet laughing about his videos and laughing at him, he feels a sense of confidence because people notice him. When Iyanla sat down with the brothers, she asked him like, why doesn't anybody like be there for Michael? And a few of them said that they've offered him someplace to stay, but Michael just wants to be on his own because he's so used to being on his own. I think that's what it is. And being around them, being in their space might make him more uncomfortable. So he's used to being on his own, and I think that's why he doesn't stay with any of them. But Melvin said he really doesn't know how to talk to Michael or handle him because of the deficiency, because they weren't taught how to deal with his deficiency, because he wasn't even taught what his deficiency was. So they sat down and said they love their brother, but they just don't know how to deal with it. So Iyanla suggested that he get on some medication because he really does need to regulate his moods. And medication would help. Now, I don't know if he'll take it because he probably might be resistant because of growing up. He probably has to take, when he has to take the Prozac and all that stuff, he probably will be resistant. But I think that medication is the best thing for him. Alright, so we sit down with Melvin and Marvin. And these two have had the most issues with each other. And nobody knew, well, we the viewing audience had no clue why. Marvin, growing up, he was in group homes and he was sexually molested. And he was molested for so long. And he didn't really want to accept who he was as a gay man. He was ashamed of it because he did not come into homosexuality as, you know, this is how I feel inside. It was basically, he was raped. I don't want to say it like this, but he was raped, and it kind of made him question who he was. And that happens to a lot of people. A lot of young boys who were raped growing up, they tend to question their sexuality once they get older. Not all of them, but it happens more often than not. And I think that was his case, that he didn't want anybody to know he was gay because he was ashamed of it because of how it came about in his life. Now, as far as Melvin was not sexually molested. He was basically openly gay, and when people would see him and Marvin, they would think they were twins. And they show pictures of them. They look like twins growing up. And I thought they were twins the first time they came on the show. But, you know, Melvin would try to go to Marvin to talk to him about some stuff because Melvin is the youngest. And Marvin would kind of shoo him away when it came to the homosexuality part. He would shoo him away. And people would think they are twins. And Marvin would tell him to tell people that we're best friends, we're not related, because he did not want to be closely associated with Melvin because Melvin was openly gay, but he was unsure about himself. So he felt conflicted with himself, and Marvin is sitting there listening, but Marvin is still holding on to, you didn't want people to know we were even related, and I would come to you and you would just make me feel bad for being gay when you are gay yourself and everything like that. And he was making it about him. Next thing I know, Melvin and Marvin are upstairs arguing as usual, and Melvin is bringing up, you know what, it's the past and you did this and blah blah blah, and he decided to go. He was ready to go. Sis was ready to pack his bags and go. So Iyanla tried to sit him down, and he said, you know what, you allowed him to be the victim in this situation, and I don't want to disrespect you, so I'm ready to go. And he is like, he ain't looking at her. He's ready to go. He is tears coming out his eyes because I know he want to cuss her ass out, but he is just trying not to because he is trying to keep his composure because they are filming. So they go outside and he is mad. He was like, no, he does not get the opportunity to just ride this wave, and he is the victim. He's not. I've been comfortable in myself. I am who I am. It's not my fault that happened to him. Now, there's going to be a part 3. I don't know if I can do a part 3 of this. This is, I've gotten to the point where I'm tired of seeing the Mitchell brothers. I'm kind of tired of seeing them. I understand their journey, but they need to go to therapy. I feel like Iyanla has done all she can for the brothers. It's a wrap. They need to go to therapy and try to build a new relationship with each other. If they cannot, separate. You do not have to be cool with your siblings. Yes, that is ideal, but if there are some people in your life, parent, siblings, aunt, uncle, whomever, people that are disrespecting you, who are wishing you nothing but harm, whatever, if there's a point where you have to separate from these people, do it. Okay, you have to separate and see. You have to separate yourself from a situation. You do not have to be lifelong friends with your brother. Anyway, guys, I am so tired of the Mitchell brothers. I don't even know if I'll be reviewing the last episode, to be honest. We'll see. I don't know. Let me know what you thought about the episode. Are you tired of the back and forth? I'm kind of winded from it. But let me know what you thought about the episode. Do not forget to subscribe, like this video, share it with your friends, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye.